Hi, it's Mark Murphy and another week at TravelTube.com, the travel expert channel. Just like I've told you many times before, some of you have responded greatly. You actually followed us on the podcast app. Thank you so much. That helps our ratings and it makes us more visible, which makes travel agents more visible. At the same time, some of you haven't opted in yet to the newsletter. Please go to TravelTube.com and do that. This is designed to support you, the travel professional, showcase your abilities, and in doing so, raise your game. I can't do it without you because my focus is you. So please take a moment, go to traveltube.com, put your email in. We'll send you our newsletter. And therefore, you'll be aware of what your peers are doing, what I might be talking about in any given week, and of course, who I happen to be interviewing. This week, I am interviewing Carol Andrews. She is a Virtuoso agent who came into the business kind of in the middle of the financial crisis, which is pretty interesting. And she's been doing some pretty good work. And we've been in touch probably since about the COVID mayhem of 2020. So let me welcome Carol to the stage. There she
Hey,
is.
Mark.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, happy to have you. So you got into business 2011 or 12. What was your initial focus and what did you do beforehand?
Well, I was a stay-home mom for a long time. I have 4 children. And as they started going off to college, I got divorced and I wanted to travel. And I didn't really want to go alone. And I thought, if I put a trip out there, there's got to be other people who want to travel, but they just don't want to deal with the hassle of putting it all together. And maybe they don't want to go alone either. So I started out primarily doing groups, small groups. I would put together a trip to Ireland, Africa, Spain, wherever, and say, hey, here's the price. Here's where we're going. Who wants to go with me? And I usually have between 10 and 20 people who want to go. I still do that. But as I got more into the travel industry and learning more, I realized I can't be traveling all the time. And there's no reason I can't help other people that just want to travel in a traditional travel agent sense. So I now do that as well. And that takes up, most of my time now is planning trips for other people in that traditional sense, and became a part of Virtuoso, which has been amazing. Great connections all over the world, offering amenities and perks and upgrades and things to my clients, which I love being able to do. But I still do my groups about 4 or 5 times a year, which is super fun because I get to go with them. I've got lots of repeat travelers over the years. It's always a different group and I always have new people, but a lot of repeat travelers that meet on the trips and then show up for a trip and like, hey, I haven't seen you since we went to Peru 3 years ago. And now here we are going to New Zealand. So it's been really fun.
That's cool. And so I think you mentioned you just had a recent trip to New Zealand, correct?
Yes.
A few months ago?
Yes. That was the second time I've been. Sometimes I go to scope it out first, sometimes not, but I had been the year previously and loved it so much and went back this January and took a group with me. There were 13 of us.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
And what I love about that is if you do a small group, are most of them people that don't know each other? Forget previous trips. They're not they're not coming together to do a group and using you. You're setting it up and then you're marketing it, correct?
Yes. Most of the time that's how it happens. Every now and then I'll have a couple or some people that say, hey, I just took a group to the Galapagos in the fall, and there was a few couples that had traveled with me before. They were friends with each other, and they said, hey, if we want to go to the Galapagos, will you go? Will you put it together? And we're going to invite all of our friends. That happens sometimes, but most of the time, it's like you said, people have either traveled with me before or they find me somehow in my marketing or referral, and they show up and they don't know anybody.
Got it. And did you consciously do the small groups because of the revenue opportunity and doing a group versus doing a couple, there's a little bit more work, but there's a multiple more revenue in terms of commissionable opportunities.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I initially started because I wanted to travel and I didn't want to go by myself. So I thought, well, this will be fun. I'll plan it. That way I know it's doing all the things that I want to do the way I want to do it. And then I'll have people that go go with me. So yes, I mean, it is a little more work on the front end. And sometimes while you're traveling, issues happen that you have to deal with while you're on the trip. But for the
Yeah.
most part, if I've done my job well, I'm having just as much fun as everybody else. And the work is all kind of on the front end.
Right. Now, how many of those people you've taken on groups come back and book an FIT type of
Um,
vacation?
a lot of them do. A lot of them will say, "Hey, we're thinking about going to Europe this summer, or we want to do a river cruise. Can you help us book that?" Sure, absolutely. So they do learn on the trip, the other things that I do. And often it leads to them using me just when they don't want to go with the group. They want to take their family somewhere. So
Right,
that does
right.
happen.
Now it's funny because like when people well, for instance, do a destination wedding, a lot of them will do that trip, they'll make their money, but they don't have a great follow-up strategy for all of the individuals they booked. What would
Mhm.
you suggest to agents that are starting to develop group business and how they can leverage that into lifetime customers?
That it is tricky. And I made a mistake in the very beginning. My agency name was Andrews Group Travel. And since I did start out doing primarily groups, even a lot of my friends still think I only do groups. They'll
Yeah.
see my Facebook posts where I'm in New Zealand or Africa with people, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you could book a Viking River cruise." I'm like, "Yes." So that is a constant struggle, even now, all these years later, um, letting people know that I can do more. So I try to follow up with people after a trip with an email, "Hey, I hope you had a great time," all the normal things. And then remind them, I can book your individual family travel if you want. Um, I encourage them to join my newsletter, my
Yep.
email list, so that I don't inundate people with emails. My kids tell me I'm not consistent enough with that. But,
Right.
nobody wants to hear from me, 5 times a week. I
Yep.
don't want to flood their inbox, but I do have an email list where I'll talk about future upcoming trips or talk about Virtuoso amenities, and maybe I'll do a destination spotlight of somewhere that I've just learned about or just been. So in all those ways, I'm trying to gently remind people that I can book their individual travel.
And what kind of conversion rate do you get on that? If you took 10 people on a group trip, how many of those in the next 24 months would book with you separately again? Not including another group.
And not another group. I would say over half, probably
Oh,
60%.
that's a
Yeah,
great.
it's pretty good. I mean, yeah.
So
Um,
interesting enough, that's an amazing way, selling groups and traveling with those folks. They get to know you.
mhm.
You're no longer just a transaction tool. You've put together the trip. You've done all this work for them. Plus, if they like you and you're very likable, so they're going to like you, and now you're their friend. You've traveled with them
Right.
for 14 days. And
Yes.
then you've got a referral engine built in. And the
Mhm.
more groups you do, the more referrals you get. It's a pretty common thing, but common sense isn't that common. We learned that with COVID, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's great. Now, shifting gears, what are some of the group trips that really stood out for you? You mentioned New Zealand. What was it about New
Mhm.
Zealand that was so memorable?
It is just so beautiful. Um, the landscape is incredible. Mountains, lakes, you've got the sea. So it's stunning visually. The people are so friendly. Any active thing you can think that you want to do, they have it.
Yeah.
So it's great for outdoorsy, active people. The food was awesome. On my last group, we had a guy who bungee jumped off the famous bridge and also jumped off some big tower in Auckland.
No,
So
thanks.
no,
I did a lot of stupid things and I have a lot
Mhm.
of injuries as a result. I'm done
Yeah,
with all that stuff. I'm
yeah.
done.
I didn't. I'm pretty adventurous, but I don't want to jump off anything like that.
No.
So it's very adventure focused. So it's really great. Of course, wine. is amazing there.
Yep.
So it's a really spectacular place to go as a couple or as a family, because there's so many fun things to do.
Oh, that's great. And what's coming up for you? I know you mentioned another Africa trip. Africa
Yeah,
is near and dear to your heart.
it is.
How many times have you been?
This will be my 11th trip, not counting Morocco and Egypt, which are also obviously Africa, but I mean like safari
Yep.
Africa.
Gotcha.
So this will be my 11th trip, my 11th time to take a group to Africa. And I just don't really feel good in my soul unless I have an Africa trip on the books. It's, I've been to a lot of amazing destinations, but Africa really holds a special place for me. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty,
always excited to go
people
back.
don't understand what it's like to be sitting in a Jeep and even like looking at a zebra in the wild.
Yeah,
They look crazy cool.
yeah,
Giraffes,
yeah,
lions, waking up, getting ready to go on a
yeah.
hunt. We saw some amazing things. I've been to Africa several times as well and thoroughly enjoyed it. I think my wife was a bit terrified when the elephant came all the way over and stuck its trunk all the way in to the Jeep to smell everybody, to see what was going on. And
Yeah.
of course, we had one European couple where the woman couldn't shut her mouth, kept on wanting to stand up and take pictures. And,
Hmm.
you can't do that, as you know. That's
No.
a big no-no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's amazing. And it does, you feel like this can't be real life, and when you look at a giraffe in the zoo, of course it's fine and all of that. But when you see one out in the wild, I remember, I think this looks like a Dr. Seuss. This can't be a real animal. Can't,
right.
I mean, they just look so incredible. Zebras, same. You just think these aren't real, but they are.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty wild. People don't understand it. It's night and day. The one thing that did terrify, I think both of us, is when we did in the in the Delta in Botswana, where we were in dugout canoes. The
yeah,
guy had a stick. He had a gun that shoots blanks because you're in a national park and they didn't allow live ammunition. And you're cruising along through reeds in water, and the number one killer out there, the hippos that you can't even see because they're under the water, and
yeah.
it was nerve wracking. It
It
was
is
nerve
a little
wracking.
nerve wracking. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
I was like, and we did a walking safari, and
Hmm.
I was like, I think I'm going to stick to the Jeeps going forward.
Yeah.
Now, is there a favorite spot that you've gone to multiple times with clients in Africa, or do you try to
Uh,
move around?
I do move around a bit. South Africa, of course, is amazing. I'm going in June back to Botswana, so we'll be
Nice.
going to the Delta, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. I've never safaried in Zimbabwe. I've been to see Victoria Falls, but I'm excited
Where are
to.
you where are you taking your group in Zimbabwe?
We are going to Hwange National Park, which is supposed to have an amazing population of wild dogs.
Oh, interesting.
I know, and hopefully some rhino. As you know, they're getting harder and harder to see.
Right, right. All
So,
the
but
poachers.
and of course, if you want the migration, Kenya and Tanzania,
Yep.
you can't beat it. And then even the gorilla trek, which I've been lucky enough to do twice now, once in Rwanda, once in Uganda. An
Oh, wow.
incredible experience.
Did you see Mondani's family there when you were in Uganda?
No, we missed them.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a
We were
shame.
hoping they would invite us to come stay with them, but they didn't.
Yeah, yeah. They plead in poverty over there. Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's too funny. I had to throw that in there, folks. Don't be triggered. If you're like communists, I apologize.
yeah,
Um, I don't apologize. Actually, that was a fake apology.
yeah.
Not sincere at all. But in Botswana, the Okavango Delta, is that where you're going?
Hmm. We'll
Yeah.
be there and around, some of the other camps in Botswana.
Yeah, when
Um,
I was there, the temperature dropped. The first day it was probably like a high of like mid 70s. We went in, I think around June, got up to like 75, 78, and then it dropped to the high 30s the next day. And you're in basically luxury tents.
yeah,
So there's no heat coming in,
yeah,
and you're just bundled up. And if you
hmm,
do shower, you're showering in an outdoor shower that's enclosed off the back
yeah,
of your tent. And it made for an interesting trip. We ended up cutting that a day short and hopping over to Zimbabwe
Mhm.
and seeing some amazing sites over there, including
Oh,
Victoria
yes.
Falls.
Yeah.
That was great. Now, you've done some other destinations for groups. You just mentioned
Mhm.
Peru
Yes.
initially. You did
Mhm.
the whole Machu Picchu,
We
and
did. Yes.
what's the impression people have when they first go to Machu Picchu? What do they tell you?
I've been twice and taken two groups. And interestingly, you can see some of the changes that they make when I went years ago. Like we had this fun picture of our whole group jumping in Machu Picchu. You can't jump anymore at Machu Picchu. And if
Why,
you,
just damaging the
yeah, they
ground?
think it could knock something loose, or, maybe somebody did it and got hurt one time. I don't really know. But
Okay.
funny, I was like, oh, let's take our jump picture. And they're like, no, no.
Oh,
You
there you
can no
go.
longer jump at Machu Picchu, but it is beautiful. And I think people have some expectation from photos of what it's going to be like. And then when you get there, it's much more. We felt the same way. I don't know if you've been to Jordan and Petra. You see
Yep.
pictures and you think, oh, yeah, of course, that's going to be cool. And then when you get there, you could spend a whole day there or more. It's stunning, and so much bigger than it looks like online. So
Right.
people are usually blown away by the size and scale of it when they get there in person.
Do they feel a spiritual connection when they're in these places, or is
Yeah,
it
I think
more?
a lot of people do. I know I for sure feel one when I'm in Africa. I know for some people it's the beach, for some people it's the mountains. For me, it's Africa. I feel like, okay, I feel really close to God here. This is nature. This is by design.
Yeah.
This did not just happen the way all these animals and this whole system works together. There's a creator here. And so I feel it there, but I do think in different places, people definitely feel a spiritual connection.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt. Now, if you were going to give advice to somebody coming new into the industry, what would be some of the things? And do you work with other agents, or you're just it's your own practice and you don't have
It's
like?
my own. I do have a host agency in California that's amazing, but I'm independent. I have one IC that works with me. She's newish, and she wants to start doing some of her own groups with her own, contacts and colleagues and friends. So she's starting that, so that's nice. But otherwise, it's just me.
All
Um,
right.
yeah.
So for you, this young IC that comes in, what are the tips you give them to start building that business and not being one of the people that churn right out of the business? Because that's one of the issues. People come in, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to get to travel, get all these perks. It's going to be great." A lot of times, these so-called host agencies, I call them consumer commission clubs. They sell a dream that's not a reality because, like any business, you've got to work it and build it. It doesn't just
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
So for those folks coming in, what's the roadmap for them? Because there's different training. We had a training platform, and
Hmm.
Asta has something, and Institute, and on, and different suppliers, but it's all product. Um, what can they do? Because there are no more travel schools, and there's really no need for the typical
Right.
travel school.
Yeah.
So I'm coming in. You want me to be successful? Lay it out for me. What should I do first thing? And give me like a few steps into the process.
I mean, I did not do this, and looking back, I should have. If I were telling somebody now, if you can align yourself and find an agent that you like, you think they're successful, whether they're doing groups or FIT travel, whatever it is, if you can work with them, at least at the beginning, yes, you might have to take a split or however you want to work it out with them, but it's worth it for the knowledge. There is so much to know. Um, and I learn every day from other agents, whether I'm going on a FAM or whether I'm just talking to other agents in Nashville. We bounce ideas off of each other all the time. And when you just start out by yourself in your own office at your house, you don't even know where to start. So if you can align yourself and work under or with a successful agent for a while, I think that is a great way to start, because they're going to help you, teach you the lingo, the booking process, reliable suppliers to work with. Then maybe you can go out on your own if you want to eventually, or not. Maybe it'll be a good partnership that lasts for a long time. And people ask me a lot of times about groups. It's a great thing. It's hard at the beginning. And your first group might be 6 people or 8 people, and that's okay. The hope is you take those 6 or 8 people, they have a great time, they go tell their friends. For the next trip, maybe you'll have more. And you don't have to start out going to Africa. You don't have to start out with a destination that's far and expensive and has lots of moving parts. I still do, weekends in Chicago, Broadway weekends in New York, where we're just going for 3 days to see plays.
Right.
You could do a domestic location, hiking in Montana, or it doesn't have to start out being that you're jet setting all over Europe with a group.
Right.
I
Because you got to
start
build,
small.
yeah, and you got to build the blocks of your knowledge, right? Because,
Exactly.
I remember one of the jobs I had right out of college. I knew nothing about the industry, and I got called on the spot by a client, and 20 minutes later, he went to my boss. He's like, he knows nothing. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Well, start out with something easy like a weekend in Phoenix to hike, where
Yeah.
everybody can book their own Southwest flights and you don't have to worry about that piece. You just do the hotel and maybe a few tours. See how that goes. Get your feet wet. I wouldn't jump in thinking I'm going to take all these people through Italy.
Now they could go through their own personal Rolodex, if you
Mhm.
would, but if they want to go find customers, like that's to me the biggest challenge for travel agents is, first of all, people wonder whether you're still in business. That's one
Yep.
thing. You still
Yep.
have that. Number two, if they know you're in business, they don't know how to find you,
Right.
right? Because unless they're looking specifically for you, you do a travel search online, you get all of the OTAs, you get all the suppliers. There's no way you're showing up on search results because of the
Right.
millions and millions of searches
Yeah.
and millions of pages,
Mhm.
billions. So what would you tell them to do?
I always put things on Facebook, upcoming trips. I don't know if people are familiar with a site called Meetup, but every city has it. It's free to sign up for a profile in your city, and you can create your own group. They have groups for everything: hiking, tennis, golf, people who like to eat out, people who are looking to date. I mean, it's not a dating site, but they have those groups.
Yep.
And I had a travel group on there, and people can just join. They type in the word travel, you're probably going to come up in your city, and you can post trips that way. If you can find a friend or a couple that has other friends that they can invite, like I said, it could start out being 6 or 8 people.
Yep.
Get them to invite their friends. I used to host like happy hour and say, I'm going to have a happy hour at a certain restaurant locally, and I'm going to talk about the trips I have coming up for next year. And sometimes people come and they don't intend to travel. They just want to come and be social, but that's okay. You never know.
Yep.
They might, 2 years from now, you might hear from them, or they might have a friend. So all those little ways, just getting out there, and you may not see the fruits of it for a while, but you never know. Meetup groups, I think, are great. Facebook is great. Just telling people what you do.
Got it. And so the meetup, that's interesting. I haven't looked at that in years.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
But do you find that like how many people came in and joined your group, and what did that
Um,
look like?
I'm not so active with it anymore. But at the beginning, people would just slowly join, people that I knew, mostly people I didn't know, but they were interested in travel. But I would also plan a few local things because, like you mentioned before, people like to travel with people that they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And nobody's going to send a check for $2,000 deposit if they don't know me at all. I could be a scammer. So I
Right.
might say, okay, I'm going to have a happy hour at this restaurant, or I'm going to do a hike on Saturday morning. Come. And people at least would see that I'm a real person,
Right.
that don't seem like a scammer, hopefully. And that just builds that trust level. If you start out with small events where it's free, there's no risk to them, then they're more likely to trust you when it comes to a bigger trip where it actually is going to cost them some money. I have a friend, I tell the story sometimes. She joined my meetup group. She did not know me at all. She came to a meeting that I hosted at my house about a trip I was doing to Spain. She signed up and went. And now I think she's about to take her 40th trip with me in the last 10 years.
40th.
40th. Now, some of those have been small domestic trips.
That's amazing, though.
Not huge, but she's been all over the world. Now we room together a lot. We're friends. We do stuff in Nashville all the time, unrelated to travel. So you just never know. She took a chance. It worked out. And now, that was a success story for me and hopefully her, because now she's been all over the world.
Does Nashville give you any hooks into the music side to plan things that are related to music and going to venues and seeing performers, or it's just where you live?
Yeah, it is just where I live. I mean, there's a lot of people that come to Nashville, and of course, I'm always happy to help people book their trips to Nashville. But a lot of locals don't do all that stuff all the time. I mean,
No way.
It's fun to go down when you have friends from out of town. We certainly have tons of concerts and music venues that we go to occasionally, but
Yeah, it's like people
not
that live in,
necessarily.
well, it's like people that live in New York and never been to the Empire State Building.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of my clients are from Nashville, but a lot aren't. They'll be invited by a friend to come on a certain trip, and then they're like, "Oh, I heard you talking about next year you're going to Japan. I want to go on that one." So I do have a lot of clients from all over.
And those people were they basically referrals from people there? Did they find you online, or?
A few found me online. Most of them were invited to come on a trip, one of my groups, by somebody that's been with me before. And then they sort of get hooked in and they're like, "Oh yeah, where are you going next? This was really fun. I like these people.
Yep.
This was fun not going by myself or not having to plan it." And so they start, and lots of repeat travelers that way. And then they'll invite a friend. And then it just
Right.
sort of spreads like that. So that's how I end up with clients from all over, which makes it really fun to travel with a group where, people are from different places, and they're people that you would have never met just living
Otherwise.
a normal life. Yeah.
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 So interesting. How many years would you say it took you from the day you kind of hung your shingle until you felt like you were earning a solid living and being able to scale off of that?
I think the honest answer would be 3 years.
Okay.
I think, and I do think that's why it's so hard for many people. If that's their sole source of income, it's a tough start, because when you book a trip for somebody for next March, you're
Yeah.
not going to see a penny until maybe next, May.
Yep.
So there's a big lag time from when you begin and when you actually start to see any money coming in and
Right.
getting those referrals and things like that. So I know that is tough for a lot of people, that slow build. But if you stick with it, it really can become your main source of income. And I think you're right, though. If people get into it thinking, "Oh, I'm going to fly business class everywhere for free, and I'm going to take all these amazing trips for free," that's really not the case. Yes, there are some travel perks, of course, and FAMs are a wonderful opportunity, and connections and travel agent rates and all of that. But, you have to actually have some sales to keep that going.
Yep.
And to keep getting invited back or have these opportunities come up.
Well, I always like the agent that signs up with some card mill and then the first thing is, "Oh, I want to go. I want to take a free cruise." And the people are like, "Okay, well, how many cruises have you sold?" "Well, I haven't
Right.
sold anything.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want a free cruise." I need to go on your cruise ship in order to be able to sell it.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works. And I
No.
think that some of these groups that advertise widely and sell that dream, and they've been doing it since I've been in the business since
Yeah.
1991. It's a bunch of BS. And there was one that I called out, called the CEO, whatever his title is, president of it, a big, like tens of thousands of types of thing, in terms of individuals. And he was bragging about how many, how much revenue and where they ranked on one of the trade magazine's rankings of the top agencies. And then I said, well, if I use your numbers, your 100 million divided by X works out to $2,500 per travel agent. You don't have a travel agency. You have a consumer travel club. Oh, boy, he got pissed. He
Yeah.
was not happy. But I'm just like, that's what it is. Call it
Yeah.
what it is. You're making these monthly fees.
Yeah.
You're selling a dream that doesn't exist. And God bless you. There are people making a ton of money doing that. And if you got, another sucker born every other day. Now, some of them, to be fair, you might have 5,000 agents, but you might have 300 or 400 that actually are really producing.
Really selling. Yes.
If you're lucky. That's kind of the ratio that I see on the big ones.
Yes. No, I think that's accurate. I mean, there's a lot of people, I mean, they're called fammers.
Oh, yeah.
And they sign up and they want to take all these free trips, but they never actually are selling anything. And it's just not a good reputation in the industry, as you know,
Yep.
to be like that. So
Well, the best ones were the ones walking around with the shirts on at a travel agent trade show. Ask me how you can travel for free.
yes.
And it was the yellow shirts. They're all wearing them. And I'm thinking, targeted marketing. You can walk down the street and do that, but that doesn't really help you with travel agents because they're already travel agents, you morons.
Exactly. And why does a travel agent, to be honest, why do we want to tell other people how to travel for free?
Right.
I mean, we want to show our clients and friends the value of using a good travel agent to save time, to have a seamless experience.
Yep.
But you don't really want to market yourself that it's just going to be cheap unless
right.
that's
Or actually their
travel
message
that-
was
yeah.
join our group and you can travel for free. Like become a travel agent. So they're telling them like, you can become a travel agent and travel for free. It's like, I'm already a travel agent. Everybody here is a travel agent. Who are you talking to?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So that's interesting. So
Yes.
tell me what you have coming up. This will run at some point. So we're not going to be too specific on dates, but how about what are a couple of your next group trips and where are they going?
I am doing one in August that still has a few spots left to Acadia National Park. So another good example of a domestic trip, kind of a short one. Hiking, kayaking, lobster boat, short one. I will say, luckily, 2026 trips are pretty much sold out already. But looking forward to 2027, I've got Egypt, Indonesia, Namibia, a place in Africa that I've not been, that's been on my list for a long time, and Morocco, and probably a river cruise. So those are the things up in 2027 that will definitely be info coming out soon, and I'll have spots open on those.
Oh, that's awesome. And so Indonesia, I've never been. Tell me what that looks like, that trip.
Yeah, I've not been either. So it will be Bali. We'll go to Komodo Island to see the Komodo dragons. We'll hopefully go and to Borneo to see the orangutans. And, spending some time in Bali to see the rice fields and the beaches and the local culture. Might do an extension to Singapore for those who have the time and inclination to spend a few days in Singapore. So, I love wildlife and I love so anytime I can squeeze in seeing some unique wildlife, I'm going to do it.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Carol. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
It sounds like you're doing great. 12 years, 11, basically 12 years in the business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
14. What am I saying?
Yeah. About 14
years, 14, 15 years. And it sounds great. Aligned with Virtuoso. Your website is andrewstravel.net. How can they follow you on social media?
Yes. So you can sign up for my email list, which is great. And if you go to my website, there's that annoying little pop-up that asks if you want to be part of my email list.
Yep.
I don't have a Facebook. I have my personal Facebook. The other
That's
one kept
okay.
getting hacked, and so I had to finally just close it down. I do have an Instagram, Andrews Travel, also, if they want to follow me on Instagram.
Okay, so
And
at Andrews Travel, okay.
Mhm.
And the Facebook, is it Andrews
It's
Travel as
it's
well under
Carol
your
Coles
personal?
Andrews. That's my Facebook.
Say it again.
Carol Coles, Coles, which is my maiden name, Andrews.
All right. And
That's my
so facebook.com/Andrews. I'm sorry, say it again. Carol
Carol Coles Andrews. Just my name.
Carol Coles with an S, Andrews.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully some folks will find you there. You've
hope
been a
so.
great resource. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And I'll let you know when it goes live. So stay tuned.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.